incroyable. You know what that is? You know what that is? That's the French word for incredible.
Yes, individual awards like Rookie of the Year are very important for me.
This guy, he was pissed off that he didn't win the skills challenge.
They've got to move quickly in putting a real team around him.
San Antonio Spurs, since ages, are the main and most often brought up example of perfectly managed franchise in the NBA. It is a perfect combination of a stable team ownership and a trust put on now legendary president and head coach Gregg Popovich. The timeline of Spurs' success looks as follows. 1987. David Robinson, legendary center, was drafted by Spurs with #1 selection. 1988 to 1992. First stint of Gregg Popovich with Spurs as assistant coach. 1994. Pops returns to Spurs as GM and Vice President of Basketball Operations. 1996. With 3 wins and 15 losses start to season, Popovich fires coach Bob Hill and names himself as head coach. Apparently Pops always had balls made of steel. But it was injury-plagued season and it led to Spurs having abysmal record of only 20 wins and 62 losses. But this allowed Spurs to have top pick in the upcoming draft. 1997. Spurs draft Tim Duncan with top pick out of Wake Forest University. This is probably where we should be seeing the beginning of an amazing dynasty and start of Spurs' greatness. This is when the Twin Towers started their reign. 1999. Spurs win their first championship with Duncan being NBA Finals MVP. This year also Spurs drafted Manu with 57th pick, although he joined them 3 years later. We will skip now few years and championships, as I do not want to bore you to death.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama.
2023, Spurs win the draft lottery and to no surprise select Victor Wembanyama with first pick. As you can see, it is a lot of greatness stacked in a surprisingly short span of time. Wemby, prior to being drafted, was hyped as maybe even the best prospect to ever enter the draft. No player was hyped so much. No player ever had so much attention from NBA media, being still just a potential #1 selection.
What is the NBA, what are the San Antonio Spurs getting with Victor Wembanyama?
Team player. I'm gonna make everything to win as many games as I can, and I'm trying to win a ring ASAP.
Everybody underlined that it is a marriage of dreams. Calm, polite and ambitious Wemby combined with a strict but fatherly-like coach Gregg Popovich. We all seen it before. Wemby is seen as second incarnation of Tim Duncan. Hardworking, modest, extremely mature for his age and well-mannered. He doesn't look like a lad who is about to splash $10,000 in local strip club and wave some sort of weapon on IG Live. People were wondering if he will as graciously as Tim deal with stardom. No player ever had so much attention as Wemby at this stage of his career. But he does it really good. Some people would actually say that Wemby is exceeding all expectations, and those were enormous.
He is getting better really quickly.
Let's have a look now on current Wemby numbers. 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, healthy 33.5% from 3, 47% field goal overall, 3.4 blocks per game, 1.3 steals per game. Wemby by some people is already called a defensive player of the year. February led to some absolutely crazy stats, especially like the ones related to his blocks. Wemby himself in February had more blocks than 4 NBA franchises. This is crazy. But let's check how his team is looking in the standings. 13 wins against 49 losses. As you can imagine, this record is not satisfying to some super eager and over-enthusiastic fans. Some people would want to see Wembanyama single-handedly carrying the team to win in NBA Finals in his first year. There were even calls to do the unthinkable and fire coach Popovich. This was happening especially when Pop was flirting with the idea of Sohan playing as point guard. As talented as Jeremy is, he had and still has a lot to learn as point guard. Though I have to admit, he faced all the critics with a smile and was doing what Pop told him to do. Some fans already forgot that Pop did a lot of experiments in the past. For example, not remembering how harsh he was to Tony Parker on his way to stardom. Pop is a demanding coach. Pop can force his decisions, but no one can say that Pop does not know how to build a great team. There have been also reports that Wemby is getting more and more eager to start winning now, and maybe Spurs need to think about altering their rebuild plan.
The Spurs can't treat this like a long-term rebuild. They've got to move quickly in putting a real team around him.
If they tank as they are tanking, they will again have a chance for a high pick in the draft. They also have now possibility, probably for the first time in ages, of actually attracting players and free agents, as pretty much every player in the league would be excited with a prospect of playing alongside Wembanyama. This is a fairly new situation for San Antonio. There are also rumors that some players, like for example Trae Young, are already trying to push some buttons and get to Spurs as soon as possible. At least few times he made some very suggestive claims.
Sometimes you feel for him, he has some open looks, sometimes they don't get it to him.
It looks like Pop might be doing again a tank job, collecting the pieces with draft and maybe later stacking them up with some forgotten by others players, and making them relevant again.
I've learned so much in just a couple months, more than in any little span like this before in my life. A lot of challenges, it's been hard, but I wouldn't want it to be easy.
Wemby sounds ambitious. Wemby plays amazing and seems to make a progress with every single game. Will Wemby decide to remain with Spurs for longer? We shall see. Personally, I am optimistic about his Spurs future. And I do believe that he and Pop are match made in heaven. But you never know in those times. Wemby's rivalry with Chet Holmgren is something we have not seen since ages. Last time I remember such electric duel and rivalry between rookies was Magic and Bird. League has now some exciting and young players. Ant Edwards, Wemby, Chet, Haliburton, Shai, the list goes on. Looks like a treat for NBA fans. Will Wemby in near future achieve success with Spurs? We shall see. As always guys, if you want more content like this, hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel and gives me a lot of satisfaction. My YouTube channel is my hobby, but something I want to be better with every new upload. And seeing those still modest but rapidly growing view numbers gives me a lot of joy and feels very rewarding. See you next time.